All right, man.
All right, man.
All right, you cool cats and kittens.
Here we go. Back at it again. Would you crack there? What is this?
Uh,
Wait, before we go, episode 19?
19, yeah.
Episode 19.
So this is the brewery is Ravinia Brewing Company. It's out of Highland Park. They've been around since 2016. They're over in the Ravinia Business District of Highland Park, just down the street from the Ravinia concert venue. I don't know if you've ever been there. I've never been.
I have.
The reason that I kind of plucked this one out of the local tap room because they just opened up a second brew pub in Logan Square. This one's on Diversey. It's over kind of close to Maplewood. They do food, beer, and a full bar. But the beer I got here is called Diversey Station. So kind of named after their, I think the location that they're at in Logan Square now is the old Maplewood train station. So they kind of named this beer after that. It's off of Diversey. It's,
Cool.
the train station. But this is a juicy IPA. It's 4.9%. It's like a light gold color. Let's give it a taste here.
Nice. Do they got an untapped score yet? Or you said this was
They do.
they do?
3.69. Yeah. So this brewery, this second brew pub, they opened in Logan Square, opened up about a month ago, beginning of May. So fairly new. A lot of breweries been opening up around here lately. Solemn Oath just opened another one, I know, just up the street as well. So I'll probably be talking about that one on the next episode. So stay tuned for that. But this is good. I mean, it's just like kind of a light sipping summer IPA. It's not too hoppy at
Nice.
all. Yes. What about you?
And did you say there's any correlation with that brewery to the Ravinia festival, like the music location, or it's just the same area, same location type
Yeah,
deal?
it's just the same location, Highland
Gotcha.
Park, like just up the street there. I'd imagine when you're at Ravinia, you could get their beer there.
Yeah.
They probably do pretty well there because it's named Ravinia. Um, but I don't think it's like owned by the same people or anything like that.
Mm, cool. Yeah, I've been to Ravinia. We went as a family a few years back. Actually saw Steely Dan, but didn't really see them because Ravinia is kind of picnicky. You're kind of like up in a lawn unless you got the like amphitheater seats. So you can hear it, but it's hard to kind of see, but you kind of go for the ambiance. Really nice, really beautiful kind of place. Do recommend going. I myself, I do not have anything right now. I'm kind of recording this on location, pretty much in like a hotel room. So I will have something ready for you guys next week. But I hopefully will have some this weekend. I'll be able to get away, maybe, hopefully, for the 4th of July. 4th
Yeah,
of
you got
July
to
is
do
coming
it.
up.
You got to be drinking for the 4th of July. That's just as American as it gets, right? What do you think? What are you gonna be eating? That's like the big thing for me is and 4th of
Yeah.
July, what are you gonna be eating? Like for me,
Yep.
it's ribs is my number one. I don't know about you. What's your go-to food?
I don't know, like looking back, if I close my eyes, I definitely just envision like a hot dog with some type of like noodle or potato salad. And I don't know, maybe like a vegetable or something. That's what that's what I envision. Not ribs, man. I wish it was ribs, but I would have to go hot dog or like a brat, Italian sausage, maybe even a steak. But definitely on the grill too, right? You got to be
Oh
outside.
yeah, there's got
Got
to
to
be
have
a
the
grill
grill going.
going. Yep. And
Definitely.
hot dogs for sure. Hot dogs makes me think of the Nathan's Famous hot dog eating contest. Do you watch that?
Of course, I was an amateur competitive eater myself back in my heyday.
That's
Uh,
right.
that's right. I tried a hot dog eating contest one time and
Yeah, how'd you do?
qualified.
You qualified and
I
you were in it.
qualified. I was
Yeah.
qualified to get in. It was when we were in college together. We
Tell
went
the
there
story.
to try to qualify at the same time. You didn't. It's okay. I did, and I did not do well. The people that went there were much more uh, practiced in the art of competitive eating. I went in there with no game plan. I think I ended up eating like, I don't know, like 9 hot dogs or something, and the winner was like somewhere around 20, and it was disgusting. I don't know
And
how
this
these
was in
guys
like,
do it.
how long was this in? Like 10, 20 minutes, something like that?
Yeah,
Or
it was timed. Yeah, it was something like that.
okay.
Yeah, but these guys are nuts. You talking about the Coney Island
Yeah.
Nathan's hot dog eating contest?
Yeah. So okay. So this has been around much longer than I thought it had been. The legend has it started July 4th, 1916, with four immigrants gathered at the very first Nathan's Famous hot dog stand in Coney Island. And they said that supposedly the story goes they were competing to see who is the most patriotic. 'Cause they're all immigrants. No, I don't believe this at all, but
That still
that's the
holds up,
story.
right?
That's the
That
story that
still
they're
holds
sticking
up?
with. All right. So the first recorded contest was in 1972.
Okay.
And how many hot dogs do you think the winner ate that year? So this is keep in mind.
1972, and I think like
Yeah.
Joey Chestnut eats around like what, like 70 or 80. So 1972
Mhm.
first one. I bet you like the winner was like 25.
So this is a 10-minute contest. You got to eat the bun and the hot dog, obviously. The winner in 1972, the first year, 14 hot dogs. That's it.
What?
That's
You're
it.
telling me I could have been a national champ.
That's what I'm saying. You just, this was before your time.
Dude, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
14. And now
That's
they're
it.
up to what? Do you have the numbers for
That's
now?
it. Yeah. Okay. So from 72 through 2000, the most anyone had eaten was 25, and that was in 2000. In 2001, you probably know this name, Takuru Kobayashi,
Kobayashi.
ate 50. So it went from 25 to 50, just like that, from 2000 to 2001. So this
And
guy
that was
just
like, I
came
think
on the
from-
scene and took it over. I feel like everybody knew who that was when we were younger.
Exactly. That was the person that like put it on the map for me. I think there was like a true life competitive eater. Because I remember it was like Kobayashi was on it. And so it was like Eater X was like another person that was on it. If you remember that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, him for sure. Obviously, Joey Chestnut's a big one.
Right.
Eric Badlands Booker is always a name that I always remember
That's
too. I
right,
like
yeah.
that guy's great. So Kobayashi won in 2001, and then he won every year until 2006. So he kind of came on the scene, was one step ahead of everybody else. And putting about 50 hot dogs down, nobody could match that. Nobody could get up there. Then in 2007, Joey Chestnut comes along, and he downed 66. So it jumps from 50 to 66 in 2007. So he takes the title then, and he won from 2006 or 2007, I'm sorry, all the way through 2014. He won every single year. And then he lost in 2015 to a guy named Matthew Stoney.
He's like a little guy too. I know Matthew Stoney. He's a little.
He does
guy.
like that. He does like the shimmy when he's up there.
Yeah, the shimmies and the jumps and everything.
He does the shimmies and the jumps. He won. He put down
and the jumps.
He put down 62, and Chestnut only put down 60 that year. So he beat him by 2. It was like real close, a big upset. And then from then on, Chestnut was like, put him in another gear. He won every single time, every single year since that time. So he won from 2007 to 2014, and then he's won 2016 through current every single year. And last year he put down 75 hot dogs. That's the current world record.
And what's the time? 75 in 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah. So 7.5 hot dogs a minute. That is insane. So he's won 13 times in total. Yeah. And then there's a women's division that looks like started back in 2011. And there's only been 2 women that have won. They kind of went, there was a winner for a couple of years, and this woman named Mickey Sudo has won the last 7 years. And she put down 48.5 hot dogs last year. So that's the woman's record now. Yeah. So almost 50 hot dogs for women, 75 for Joey Chestnut. And honestly, Chestnut put down 75 last year. And I think the guy after him only put down 42. So he's just way ahead of everybody else.
Himself.
He's trying to beat his own record every year.
Yeah.
How many calories do you think that 75
hot dogs is?
Yeah, in 10 minutes.
I don't know, man. I would say, is it like 12,000 calories?
That is a hell of a guess. That's exactly right.
There we go.
You got some notes there or what?
There we go. No, I was doing some math in my head.
Wow.
All right. Got to go buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah. Let's take you to the casino. So his recipe for success, supposedly, he does other eating contests, trains year round, but the day before, or the 2 to 3 days before the Coney Island event, he fasts. He doesn't eat anything.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And then they train by stretching out their stomachs, by drinking gallons of milk or water very quickly. And downing lots of fibrous foods like watermelon, oatmeal in like a matter of minutes. They'll try to like down as much of that as possible and stretches their stomach out. Supposedly that's the ticket. So if you want to do that, if you think you can win.
That doesn't like, I wonder what the off season's like for a competitive eater after stretching out your stomach and doing this like rigorous thing to your body, like how your body reacts. Are you forever like hungry because your stomach's so like stretched out, or like is the body just like that incredible to where once you give it a break it kind of just like comes back to where it should be?
So it said that obviously they do other competitions as well, so they're kind of training year round,
Uh-huh.
but they have breaks. But when they're stretching their stomach out this much, you know, the couple days afterwards, they're on like a really strict diet, you know, really healthy
To
foods.
try to rebound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to try and like rebound their stomach and shrink it because they
Man.
have no idea if they're full or not at that point afterwards because their stomach's so stretched out. So they have like a rigorous, you know, like workout schedule and they have diet
That's wild.
afterwards. Yeah.
But yeah,
Crazy.
I do love watching it too. It's quite the spectacle. It's so American. It's ridiculous to have a competition when like there's people starving around the world and we're like, all right, how many hot dogs can you eat in 10 minutes? Let's go.
Yeah.
And like that's so funny that the origin story is that it was a couple people trying to see who's more patriotic by eating more hot dogs. Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. And I think like Sports Science did a breakdown on like how and why like Joey Chestnut's jaw too. If you've ever seen it, he's got like a big like protruding jawbone. It allows him to like open it wider to get more food in there, and then they like literally
That's
broke it
classic
down,
sports
like,
science.
sports
Yeah.
science where like the amount of force in his jaw is more than the typical human, and that's why he's able to like process and chew the food and get it like down to his stomach faster. Just a great piece of evolution work there.
Yeah. But it's like surprising. I mean, you think these people that win these contests that like, all right, he's good at hot dogs. Maybe he's good at like eating, I don't know,
I
chicken
know
or
there's like
something
chicken
else like
wings.
that.
Yeah.
But like this Mickey Sudo, the women's champion, she's got the hot dog record, but she's got the world record for kimchi, hot
Yeah.
dish, and ice cream. Like none of that is kind of similar. So it's like surprising that her stomach's and you know she's competitively eating these four different, completely different things, and she's just really good at all four of them. I don't know.
And this is Joey Chestnut's full-time job.
Oh yeah,
Competitively.
yeah. He used to be a construction manager, it says,
Yeah.
but now he does this full
Now he
time.
travels the world eating.
Yeah, stretching
Wild.
his stomach all year round.
Wild, wild, wild. Last
Yeah.
thing too, like on 4th of July, like other like things that I like to do, traditions or whatever, is the barbecuing, watching the Nathan's hot dog, and then I gotta have Sandlot. Like I have to put the Sandlot on. I have to just like sit down and listen to the scene when the like, you know, the everyone got lost in lights that night, but Benny the Jet was always there to bring us back to the game. And it's like
Yeah.
the night they're playing baseball under the fireworks, and it's got like Ray Charles in the background with "Oh Beautiful," and
Mhm.
that like piece of dialogue that they read off during that just like gets me in the feels every single time. I think it's just like quintessential viewing on the 4th of July. And I don't feel like my 4th of July is complete unless I watch that, even if it's like a YouTube rip of it. Gotta watch it.
Yeah, and I love that scene where they're like running through the parties and
Yep.
stuff
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
streets
He's
and
packing up his plate. The
Yeah.
Babe Hamilton Porter.
yeah.
He's just packing it up. Sparklers are going, right?
Yeah, and they get
Yeah.
caught watching the fireworks when they're
It's such a
playing.
nice slice of nostalgia. It makes you
Mhm.
feel good just watching it.
For sure.
Yeah. But I mean, moving on.
You know what
4th of
doesn't make you
July.
feel good watching it?
Yeah. Chicago
Cubs right
Cubs
now.
baseball.
What is
Whoa.
happening? What is
Woof.
happening?
Today's game.
Yeah.
7-0 first inning. All right, man. I even thought about like streaming Jake possibly for my fantasy team. Did not, thankfully.
Mhm.
But then like I saw that 7-0 score. I'm like, all right, Cubs got it. Cool. Playing division rival, division leader, Milwaukee Brewers. It's going to be a good win. I'm over. I'm busy. I'm not looking at my phone. Look at it maybe like an hour later, and it's like 6-7. The Brewers are coming back. I'm like, oh shit, okay. And then I checked the final score, and what was it? 15 or 14-7 final.
15, yeah, 15-7.
What the
I think.
fuck's happening,
Wow.
man?
Dude, they were up 7-0, and then Arrieta comes in bottom of the first, and immediately the bases are loaded. Like it felt like he got out there and they were loaded right away. And then I think they ended up getting one. So you're like, okay, only one run. That's not that much damage. The next inning comes out, gives, you know, he didn't even make it through the second inning. And then they just kind of fell apart from there. I think when you bring the bullpen's great, but when you bring them in any bullpen in that early, like that's just asking a lot to go 7+ innings
Mhm.
out of the bullpen when we don't really have, in my opinion, a good long reliever like that, you know, like a
It should have been
Sean
Alec
Marshall
Mills,
is what I
right?
think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Alec Mills got the start the other day too.
hmm Yeah. So, I mean, this team's they're just not built for a long postseason, or even a short postseason potentially.
Or they're just not built for the postseason.
Yeah, exactly. So after what they lose 6 straight now, I think they lost, they got swept by the Dodgers.
Yep.
No, do we win the first
2,
one?
3, 4, 5, 6 in a row.
6
so
in a
going
row.
back to the 25th of June to LA, would not get swept by the Dodgers. We won the first game, but yeah.
Through that
And
no-hitter. Yeah.
Also looking at it too, talking bullpen, Ryan Tepera, who's been steady, goes on the IL, so he's gone. I think Wisdom got hurt today. He's gone, right? We still got Bodie, Horner down there. I mean, it's not looking good going into the All-Star break, going into the trade deadline.
They do have
the glimmer of hope, but like now, like how you feeling? What are you thinking is the future for this roster?
I think they should have this whole time been listening to trade offers if there are any. I think they're going to start rolling in pretty soon here because 6 games out and you got a lot of expiring contracts. There's going to be teams calling. I think Brian's kind of slipped since the last time we talked about this. He's only hitting, I think, 260-ish now when he was hitting about 300, a couple weeks back, maybe even. So I don't know how much that impacts what you can get for him. Again, it's only half a season. I don't know. I would listen to offers for him. Absolutely. At the end of the year, though, if you don't trade him, then you can get that. You can extend a qualifying offer. He's not going to take it, but that at least gives you a compensatory draft pick, which I think would be after the second round. So you're getting, essentially a second round, third round pick.
Yeah.
If he signs somewhere else, which I like almost 100% that he's going to. Kimbrel, on the other hand, if you're not going to go to the postseason, there's one more year on his deal. It's kind of, 16 million, I think. I don't know that this team's going to be looking at a postseason next year. I think you should try and trade him regardless.
Yeah.
If you can get something for him, I think teams are looking for bullpen arms.
Definitely.
I would try to see what you can get for him. Absolutely. Again, I don't know that it's going to be much because he pitched like shit last year and he's having a good year this year. And
I think that's closers though. You got to get them when they're hot, man. They get they're so hot and cold, and right now this year he's hot, and they're the ones too that put teams over the top. So he might have significant value come like end of the deadline here with a team that just needs to solidify that back end of the bullpen the way he's been pitching.
Yeah, his numbers have been insane.
Yeah, I see him with a lot of value. Cubs should also trade Schwarber. Oh wait, we don't have him anymore, but he's tearing it up. Holy shit.
16 homers in June. And it prompted
shit.
I was listening to Pat Hughes today talking about Sammy Sosa's 20 home runs in a month. And it's like whenever you bring that up and somebody's in that stratosphere at this point when it's not the steroid era, you're just like, that's insane that you're even comparing these two guys when Sosa was obviously all juiced up.
I think like Barry Bonds I saw the graphic. It was like Sosa, Barry Bonds, and Schwarber were like the 3 people in that graphic. Absolutely tearing it up. Picked him up on the fantasy team. 2 home runs immediately. Another one after that. The guy is just on a tear. We knew he could do it, but this is kind of like otherworldly the way he's doing it right now. The way he's just launching the ball consistently, game after game after game.
And I would say
would have been nice if we had him. Would have been nice if we still had him.
For sure. I was going to say, as a Cubs fan, it's kind of bad timing when the Cubs are losing 6 straight and Schwarber's just tearing the cover off the ball.
Well, but, I mean, we could talk about how Jason Hayward is pretty much like handcuffed this roster and the outfield, and just can't wait till that contract's gone. Is that gone off the books after this year?
No,
it'll be 6 more years. Forever. Yeah, and he's batting like 180. He's so bad.
Yeah,
he had a good year last year, but just not there this year.
Same with Happ. Ditto with Happ. Another bad year for him this year. He tore it up last year.
Yeah,
I guess tore it up. He had a good year last year, but
yeah, he ended strong too. But yeah, it's. I mean, this is the roller coaster of being a Cubs fan. Like a month ago, team was just like looking as a contender. They're putting it all together. The bullpen hasn't like let up a run in the month of May or whatever. And now here we are going into the deadline. Like, all right, sirens are going off, fire alarms being pulled, like fire sale, get everyone the hell out of here. This team sucks. And I'm sure like if I had like my fortune teller hat on or whatever, looking into the future, I'm I don't think we trade or let go of a lot here at the deadline. I think maybe a piece. Um, but then I also see us kind of maybe steadying off and just being mediocre. I don't see us sucking as bad as we are right now.
Hmm. I mean, Chafin's pitching really well too,
Yeah.
and that's another reliever that people could be interested in.
I mean,
I would hate to see him go because I love the guy,
yeah.
but I wouldn't be surprised to see his name getting dangled out there a little bit. And Kimbrel, I think both of those are strong guys to go, and Bryant. But anybody else, I think I would be kind of surprised to see anybody else go.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, this conversation just like pisses me off because we're the Chicago Cubs. We're a major market team. We won the World Series in 2016. You look at other franchises that have this money at their disposal and they don't tear it down like this. They don't just fucking tear the whole thing down, gut it, and go like what the Cubs did in like 2012 when they just loaded the farm system. You look at teams that are major market that have the payroll, that have the ability to just kind of weather the storms and the good and the bad and kind of rebuild on the fly. I saw like another article is like, if I'm the Cubs, like, what the fuck are you doing trading Yu Darvish? That is a piece that you hold on, and then you kind of can rebuild underneath that kind of arm in your starting rotation and still be competing while you're rebuilding. I don't like the idea of completely tearing it down and selling off everybody and getting another influx and just kind of going through the same cycle we did before we won the World Series. Maybe that's the way to go because it obviously worked out. But I just think that we are a franchise that doesn't have to do that. I think we should be able to pay for these players. We should be able to sign big free agents. We should be able to attract players to come want to play for us. And we should be able to compete every single year. Like, what the fuck? Like, that pisses me off. So this conversation is a little upsetting that it even has to happen.
Mm-hmm. It's the ownership, man.
It's the
it is.
I mean, it's the Ricketts.
And I'm interested to see like how they kind of respond to the Cubs. If the Cubs become terrible, which I think a lot of us are expecting that to happen in the next couple of years, because Ricketts kind of came in and the team sucked then, right? And they got good. They got Theo. They got good, and now they're gonna suck again. So it was like there was no expectations. Then the expectations have been incredibly high. The Cubs, won a World Series, and now they're kind of
I think that was the
decline.
expectation.
Yeah.
Win a World Series and then run it like a business.
I can see that. Yeah.
Win the World Series, that grants you like 20 years of leeway in the city of Chicago.
Yeah. And this 6-game slide kind of gives, if he wants to tell Jed, hey, pull the plug right now, let's get rid of some of these guys now after the 6-game slide. And then he can be like, hey, you know what? We were losing. We didn't see it happening, and not even play out this month of July, which I think they play a lot of favorable. It's a very favorable schedule this whole month. Mm-hmm. And by the end of this, they could be looking at close to first place again. They play the Diamondbacks, I think 6 games, and that's the worst team in the league. They play the Reds, who are 500, I think. They play the Cardinals, who are below 500, and those are like the only teams they play all month. So you're playing a bunch of kind of mediocre and shitty teams. I think they have a good shot of turning it around here. But then, what happens after that when we got to play the Brewers again? Mm-hmm. Unless you're making some moves to shore up the rotation, I don't really see us going much farther than that anyways. So maybe you do pull the trigger on some of these trades if you can get something worthwhile. So I don't know. They're in a decent spot, I guess, right now for somebody to send them an offer and say, hey, you guys are 6 games out. Let me get Chris Bryant. Here's a good prospect. Let's just call it done right now rather than wait until the deadline. So I don't know. We'll see. I still think they're probably going to wait, but
it's the roller coaster, man. I mean, beginning of the season absolutely sucked, right? One of the worst offense in history of baseball. And then all of a sudden we just went on that ascend and we're in first place and just we're amazing. And now we're going free falling again. So, I mean, maybe it'll play out, right? Where we just keep going up and down, up and down. Hopefully we're going up at the end of the season. Who knows?
All right.
Baseball.
I like that optimism.
Crazy sport. Yeah. Always gotta give the dash of optimism there. Sticking around Chicago baseball, this South Side was Josh Donaldson's pretty hilarious. Did you see what happened there?
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. That
Lucas Giolito.
Yeah. So Donaldson hits a bomb and he kind of turned to the crowd and said, hands not sticky anymore. And I guess in the post-game presser, Giolito said, he's a pest, he's pretty classless. He should say it to my face.
Yeah.
And then Donaldson met him in the parking lot, right?
Dude, it's crazy. Yeah, so like he's saying he had a home run off Giolito because he's not using the spider tack anymore, right?
Yeah,
It
exactly.
says it to the crowd, and then he met him in the parking lot. And then did you see what happened? Did you see like some of the other things that happened?
No, I didn't.
So I think he had like a crazy press conference. He's like calling more people out. I think he called out Ozzie Guillen about like his support for like Fidel Castro or something like this, and just
What
like
the hell?
going after the White Sox and just kind of just like going
Oh,
after him.
because Gian said that Giolito should drill him next time he was up
Yeah.
there, right?
And
Yeah.
then Guillen's also saying he's like never won a World Series. He's like holding his ring up kind of thing, like classic baseball, like old baseball players arguments. And then today, Donaldson goes up and just hits another dinger. He is just like the most hated person right now from a White Sox standpoint. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty funny.
I saw there was the Twitter hashtag going around about Donaldson. All the White Sox fans were kind of giving him shit.
Yeah.
So that was interesting on Twitter.
Yeah, and I
But
was at the I don't know if we talked about it, but I was at the Dodgers Cubs game. I put a lot of content out there on our social media, on the Twitter, on the Instagram. And it was pretty interesting to see it firsthand. The umpires stopping pitchers as they're coming off the mound in between innings. Fans are not like the boo birds come out hard and fast when that's happening.
yeah, I'm
So,
not
I
surprised
mean,
at all. It's just anytime they stop play, really, shit. If they throw over to first base, all the fans get on them. So it's
right.
like
Yeah.
that's nuts. That I mean, how often were they doing it? Was it every inning?
So I think it's like no, I think it's upon the request from the manager. Like if the opposing team managers like ask for it, they can do it. Or so like that's when it can happen, or when you're getting pulled out of the game, then they check you.
Oh, okay.
And I was I was hearing like some funny hypotheticals of like how this should work, how they can improve on this, like checking for sticky substances. And some people are like, if they can get checked before they go out there to play that game, and they get by and they pass the first check, then whatever they do after that is fair game. So if they like had it hidden somewhere, or if they like were able to get it by the umps and slip it by them, like bringing a flask into a concert or something, then they
Yeah.
get to enjoy it for the rest of the game and they get to use it.
Uh,
Yeah, but yeah, I think that stuff kind of calmed down a little bit too. I haven't really heard too much of it. I know the players are still talking about it. The spin rates are going down. That's another thing. Josh Donaldson was like pointing out that Giolito's like spin rate numbers have gone down, and like literally just saying no more sticky stuff. Look at the statistics. Like it's saying that you're not using anymore. It's proving that you're not using anymore. So although he's being a pest and a dick about it, he does have a point.
yeah. But you know what?
But
I've only seen one guy that's gotten a suspension so
yeah.
far. And I think it was
Oh,
a 10 game suspension.
suspension. Trevor Bauer. Did you see that stuff?
No.
I think he just got a
Did he get suspended?
no, I don't think he got suspended, but a case just came about of like domestic, not domestic. I think he just like assaulted a woman, or he's getting charges pressed against him for like assault.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so something might be happening there. I think I saw that today. But yeah, I haven't seen a lot of suspensions out there. Yeah, I think that's about it for baseball. My fantasy team's riddled with injuries. Thanks again,
Of course.
Kamish, for only one injured spot. I think I have 4 of my pitchers and 2 of my position players not available. It's great. Wonderful league.
Speaking of injuries,
But yes, exactly. Good segue. Speaking of injuries, NBA playoffs. Holy smokes. Did you
that
see
is a big
Giannis
one.
yesterday?
Yeah, that's a big one.
What do you think? Did you watch it live, or did you watch replays of it?
No, I just saw the replays.
What would you think right off? Serious? Not serious?
I thought serious. I think he
Yeah.
was like, looked like he was in a pretty good deal of pain there. So
Yeah.
I don't
From
know.
my medical standpoint.
Yeah, having
And
torn your ACL a couple
personal
times.
experience tearing ACL and understand like how it works, right? Going lateral is more of an ACL tear when you're
How many times you torn your ACL?
twice.
Okay.
So like when your tibia and fibia and your femur and the knees, when they go opposite directions laterally, that's usually when ACL tears happen. And watching Giannis, his knee kind of like bent back. So it was more of like a hyperextension. So that was what I was calling last night. And ended up today, he got like a clear MRI, which is awesome news because injuries are all over. So he went out that game. Trae Young didn't play because of his ankle. Chris Paul's just coming back because he was quarantined. Kawhi Leonard's still out for the Clippers. And those are the final 4 teams that are left right now. You got the Clippers against the Suns, and you have the Bucks against the Atlanta Hawks. And
So every team's best player.
yeah, pretty much all the stars are out, which is crazy. Me being a basketball junkie, I think it's awesome, but a casual fan probably thinks this is awful. It sucks for the NBA. Why would I watch it? It's probably going to be one of the lowest rated finals, if indeed it is Atlanta and the Phoenix Suns. Can you imagine? Both those teams, I believe, were in the lottery last year. And they're going to be in the finals this year. It's crazy. I think
Wow.
Atlanta picked like 6. And Phoenix, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Phoenix picked last year, what position they picked last year, but I know they weren't good.
They picked the Bridges last year, didn't they? Or was that the year
I don't
before
think
that?
Michael Bridges was last year. I don't think so. I can't remember offhand right now who exactly who was picked, but yeah, it's crazy. I mean, injuries are all over the place. Everyone's saying that this should be a more asterisk-ridden season than the bubble because this is a result of the bubble, to where, you know, it was bargained by the players. They agreed. Cash rules everything, right? They wanted to get paid and agreed upon starting the season earlier than usual. So their off season was shortened. Their preparation was shortened. Getting their bodies ready, obviously, was shortened. And we saw it, right? Tons of injuries everywhere. Now we're seeing it play out in the playoffs, tons of injuries everywhere. But I mean, okay, yeah, that happens. But also, like, injuries happen in sport, and injuries could happen in any moment in any game. Some of these aren't soft tissue, which would be more believable of not repetition, not rest. Some of them are like turned ankles or hyperextending your knee. And I guess there's arguments of like, well, it's because they're fatigued and their bodies are not prepared to be landing this way or jumping up, whatever. But I mean, I think it's fun to watch as a basketball fan. Next man up. The coach has got to make adjustments. Different kind of roles are going to be happening for players. Like Lou Williams started his first playoff game ever in his career yesterday and ball out, which is a cool, like, these are cool storylines to follow as like a basketball NBA fan. So, but that's it. NBA playoffs right there, riddled with injuries. I'm rooting for an Atlanta Phoenix finals. I think that would be outrageous. I'm sure the NBA is hating the thought of that.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Love to have the Clippers Bucks.
So who you want winning the whole thing?
Phoenix? I think I'm going from right now. I'm going Phoenix. Yeah. I think
get Chris Paul a ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's anybody that dislikes Chris Paul.
And Frank Kaminsky, you know, get the Illinois guy a ring. Northwest suburbs.
Went to Madison.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's it for the playoffs, man. I'll keep watching. Anything with the Bears? I saw Cole Kmet went to tight end university, which is kind of cool, I guess, that he's like in that fraternity of tight ends. I saw photos with like Kittles was there, like working out. He posted some photos of himself looking absolutely jacked.
Yeah, I thought I saw, was it Tim Tebow was upset that he didn't get a chance to go to that.
Are you serious? Is that a real story?
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't get invited to that, and he was a little bit upset by that. But it's like, dude,
take a hint. you're not a tight end.
Yeah.
You know, it's a sacred position in football. You know, it's a sacred position for those football players.
You played tight end in college or in high school, right?
Kind of, sort of. I did my freshman year and then turned into like a Y, but I more or less played not getting hit. That was my position. Try not to get hit.
Don't go across the middle.
Although I did and got absolutely wiped out one time. Absolutely laid out and like wind knocked out of me, like basically crawled to the sideline. My coach looked at me, he was like, "How's the matter with you?" I was like, "I can't breathe." Get your ass back in there. I'm like, get my ass back in there. I'm in the fetal position over here, coach. Oh, good times.
Not for everybody.
Yeah, no. Not for everyone. This was fun. I felt like I smiled. I laughed a lot this episode. This was a fun episode to record.
Yeah, that was a good one. So there it is. Keep an eye on the 4th of July hot dog eating contest in Athens. It'll be on ESPN. No free ads.
All right.
And it's good to see you, man. Episode 19 in the books.
Episode 19 in the books. As
Thanks
always,
for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Peace.